welcome to my room. I've only really been filming in here for vlogs, but here's my room. Today is a bit of a chill video. I wanted to talk about the 23 books that I would like to prioritize in the year 2023. Historically, this challenge has never really worked out for me, but I'm hoping this year it'll be fun, it'll be more interesting. I'm making more of an effort to read my backlist, which you will notice a theme with this list. They're all books that I physically already own. All of them. Because this year, 2023, is the year of reading my actual TBR. But I thought we'll start with the non-classics. So I would really love to start my Brandon Sanderson journey. This is honestly, I would love for your help with this. I don't know where to start because some people say start with Elantris, even though it's technically not his best work. Others say start with Warbreaker. And then people say no, the best and most easiest way is to start with The Final Empire, which is Mistborn Book 1. I own all three of those. So you tell me, do I start with Elantris, Warbreaker, or The Final Empire? Let me know. But whatever you choose is the book that I will be reading. And then we have Elektra by Jennifer Saint, which I made this list in the beginning, obviously, of 2023. I have since read this book, but this was one that I wanted to prioritize, and that's one ticked off on the list. It's absolutely gorgeous, love it, can't wait for the next Jennifer Saint. But Elektra was one that I wanted to prioritize this year, and I did. Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. Now, I read Mariana Enriquez's short story collection, The Dangers of Smoking in Bed. I think that was nominated for the International Booker Prize in 2021, maybe, I want to say. And I really enjoyed it. It's like gothic feminist horror. It really is just women being terrible, and it's freaking amazing within a system that is just horrible and misogynistic and patriarchal. And it was just, I really loved Mariana Enriquez's writing. I also have her other short story collection, Things We Lost in the Fire. Our Share of Night is her, I don't want to say first novel because these works are all translated, but it's her first novel translated in English, and it's quite a thick novel. It's beautiful. I honestly have no idea what it's about. I saw Our Share of Night, Mariana Enriquez, purchased it. No hesitation. I didn't even need to know what it was about. I do know it's quite in a similar vein as her other works, speculative, kind of magical realism, hinting towards fantasy. I think it's about a boy and figuring things out. I don't know. I like to go into most books not knowing them. I just think it's more fun. But that's one that I definitely want to read soon, actually. We then have a sequel. Oh, we have a sequel. The Atlas Paradox by Olivie Blake. Now listen. I did not think that the Atlas 6 would be the book for me. I honestly didn't. I went into that book thinking the TikTok girlies have gotten a lot of other books wrong. So this one is definitely going to be wrong as well. No, it wasn't. It was great. It was everything that I've ever wanted. It was hard to get into, not gonna lie. It's not without its flaws, but it was just so much fun, and the atmosphere and just the characters and their unlikability and the chaos of it all, and the drama and the magic. It was so much fun, and I loved the fun element. I really enjoyed it, and I also thought it was quite technical, and it really showcased a lot of talent by the author, which everyone's been saying that for ages, but I really enjoyed the Atlas 6. So when I saw that the Atlas Paradox came out, so excited. I'm so excited for this sequel. I couldn't read it this month because I have reading plans that I'm actually sticking to, but the temptation was so close. But that is a book that I'm going to be reading in the first half of the year, definitely, because the anticipation that I have right now, immense. I'm so excited about that. If you don't know what the Atlas 6 is about, which I'm pretty sure you all do, but it's about a group of like graduates who are chosen by this very secret society for what's the secret society called? The name escapes me now, but it's connected to the Library of Alexandria. So in this universe, in this world, there is magic, and the Library of Alexandria was never actually burnt down. It's now just like secreted away, and only like a specific society can like access it and its knowledge. But in order to get to that point, you have to kind of go through this like trial essentially that goes across a few years. Is it 2 or 3? And by the end of it, 6 become 5. So there is a heavy implication that someone will die. Well, I think there's a heavy implication, but it's really fantastic because all the characters are slightly terrible and it's great. I love it so much. And then we have another sequel actually. We have a few sequels actually on this. The next sequel is one that I can't believe I still haven't read. It's Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. It is book 2 in the Thomas Cromwell trilogy. I'm actually currently rereading Wolf Hall for this purpose to finish the Thomas Cromwell trilogy, but if I can't finish the trilogy this year, which I am going to, but the third book is 1,000 pages long, but I am going to. But I didn't want to put the entire trilogy on this list just in case I didn't, and I didn't want to put pressure on myself, so the second book is the only one on this list. Bring Up the Bodies. So Wolf Hall, one of my favourite novels of all time. It was one that I read not expecting to actually enjoy it, but I should have known that I would. Thomas Cromwell is such a fascinating character in the way that Hilary Mantel has written him and like the historical context. It is absolutely fascinating, and I am currently rereading it as an audiobook, and the audiobook is stunning. I highly recommend it. It is read and narrated by an actor whose name escapes me, but he is the actor who actually played Thomas Cromwell in the Broadway show of Wolf Hall. So he makes it a theatrical performance. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And the book itself is brilliant. I love it. And so Bring Up the Bodies, I think, is like the aftermath of what happens at the end of Wolf Hall. I am not quite sure because I've always been like, I don't want to spoil anything. But that is definitely a book that I'm going to read. And in comparison to the third book in this trilogy, Bring Up the Bodies is considerably smaller. So I should be able to like knock it out in like a week or 2. So I'm very excited about that, even though I know how everything ends. But I'm excited to see how Hilary Mantel brings this entire story to life. Wolf Hall might be like the best historical fiction book I've ever read. Maybe it is. Is it? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about that and come back to you. And then I have Babel. I didn't write my list in order of how I was going to talk about them. I don't know why I did that. I'm so excited for Babel. I'm actually planning on reading this sooner than expected. I love Babel. It's by R.F. Kuang. I read the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. I finally finished it last year. Gorgeous, incredible. R.F. Kuang's ability to just write stories. I was thinking to myself before, I'm so happy that I live in the same time as when R.F. Kuang is writing, because she is just such a talent. Incredible. I am so excited for Babel, but I haven't like read it because I've been so intimidated by it. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but I've just been intimidated. So I'm just so excited. It is about a young boy named Robin, who is taken from his city, Canton, by this dude named Professor Lovell. He has no idea who this man is, but obviously there is a connection there. Professor Lovell then whisks him off to England and essentially says, I brought you here to study these languages, study them, or else like you're essentially homeless. Like he doesn't really have a choice. And so he does, and he goes to Oxford. He goes to Babel, which is the like center for the Royal Translation Academy, whatever, which is part of Oxford University in this world. It is fantasy, there is magic in it, but it's also slightly based on like historical shenanigans. I think it's going to be similar in the sense to the Puppy War trilogy, in that it's going to have commentary on kind of the impact of colonialism and the trauma associated with that, and just the effects of colonialism broadly, but also on like an individual experience. I feel like it's going to be quite intense. I'm very excited. Kuang is an incredible writer. And then I have Lapvona by Ottessa moshfegh. This has been on like every list of mine. I can't believe I still haven't read this book. I'm just a chicken shit. I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna be honest. I'm chicken shit. I haven't picked this book up since I got it. I pre-ordered this book. I have it in hardcover. I was committed and I haven't read it. And I feel like subconsciously I'm doing it on purpose. Listen, the paperback doesn't come out until like May. And I feel as though subconsciously my brain is like, don't read it. Wait until the paperback comes out so it can match all of your books that you have by Ottessa moshfegh. So I'm going to battle against that little thought in my little brain, and I am going to read this. I'm going to read it soon so that it's done. All I know is it's like a medieval story. It's set in medieval time, which is very different to Ottessa moshfegh's other works, but it is similar to her other works in the sense that it is quite strange, quite violent and perverted, and just a lot to read. If you've read any of her other novels, that's essentially Ottessa moshfegh's brand. So I'm excited. I am, but I'm scared. But I'm mostly excited. It's honestly sitting, like you can't see it, but it's on my bedside table. Like I'm going to be reading this soon because I love Ottessa moshfegh's writing. Like the way she writes is so immersive, but what she writes is so strange that I don't know how. I would never ever recommend it to anyone because I don't know how people would take it. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I have a history with Emily Henry. Her adult romances. I read Beach Read, thought it was fine. I read You and Me on Vacation, which is People With Me on Vacation. I don't know why it's a different title in Australia, but You and Me on Vacation, I thought that was marginally better. I did think that was better, but I'm also so easy for the friends to lovers trope. But I thought it was better and I enjoyed it a bit more. I thought Beach Read was trying to do too much at once. And then Book Lovers came out and I was a bit on the fence. Not gonna lie, but on the fence. I was like, oh, I don't think Emily Henry's gonna work for me. She's just not, maybe I'm not an Emily Henry girly. Like it's just, we don't vibe, we're not vibing. But then I started hearing the reviews about it and it made me super intrigued. But the reviews that I kept on hearing for Book Lovers focused on people's annoyance that it felt like the romance element kind of was pushed to the side a little bit. To make room for exploration of like the sibling relationship, which for me, that sounded right up my alley. And I bit the bullet and I actually purchased this book. Mind you, I do really want to read the romance, like read the book itself, because this kind of romance plotline actually does interest me, but it's also the fact that the main character is an older sister and just kind of navigating that relationship with her younger sister, which just feels like it's a me book. I don't know, we shall see. And then we have another Ottessa moshfegh, but this time it's a short story collection. It's Homesick for Another World. I actually don't know much about this short story collection, but I thought that Ottessa moshfegh's writing really lends itself to the short story format genre. I just think it would marry really well. So I'm expecting the weird, the wonderful, the strange, similar to, you know, Sayaka Murata or even Mariana Enriquez and Margaret Atwood's like short story collections. Very exciting, very exciting. I have another sequel on this list and it's The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim. So I read Six Rooms and Cranes when it came out and I was a bit hesitant because young adult fantasy and me were not really meshing very well. But oh my god, it was so fun. it was so fun. It was so lighthearted. I really enjoyed the world. I enjoyed the main character. I enjoyed the dragons and the magic, and I had so much fun reading that book, which I should have known because I had a lot of fun reading Spin the Dawn, written by the same author. So I actually pre-ordered the sequel and I haven't read it because I just have this fear that when I reread Six Crimson Cranes, I'm not going to enjoy it as much. I apologise, it's my dog barking. But I'm going to bite the bullet because I had a lot of fun reading it the first time, and I'm fully expecting to have as much fun reading the sequel. So it is definitely a book that I'm going to be prioritising this year, purely because also, another reason, I want to catch up on a lot of my series that I have just like waiting on my bookshelf. Actually, I'll talk about the last sequel. It's The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. I read Shadow of the Gods whenever it came out, really enjoyed it. I'd never read John Gwynne before, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the characters. I just had a lot of fun and I wasn't expecting that. So when the sequel came out, I purchased it immediately because I wanted to read it, and I actually do want to read this sooner rather than later, just in case the third one comes out. I don't know, I don't think the third one will come out this year. Is it coming out this year? I should probably check. Because I really enjoy the world and the characters especially. Oh my god, incredible. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of Norse mythology, Norse inspired type of world. You follow 4 characters in various careers and journeys in their life stage, and shit happens and gods are woken up, basically. It's really good. I do recommend it if you enjoy high fantasy. Oh, the next one makes me so I feel so betrayed. Feel so betrayed by who? Who do I feel betrayed by? Myself. I feel betrayed by myself. Yeah. I haven't read 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. I know. I can't believe it either. I've heard that this is like one of the best retellings. And Natalie Haynes has also just recently come out with a Medusa retelling. But I can't read that. I can't read that until I read 1,000 Ships. So I am reading 1,000 Ships. It is obviously a retelling about the Trojan War from the perspective of the women. I need to read that immediately. And then have another book that's been on my TBR for so long, like physically I own this book. It's Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. All I know is that this is about a group of students and who come together. It's pretty sad. That's all I know, is that it's sad. It's meant to be sad. You're meant to like sob. And I've read one Kazuo Ishiguro book that I loved, which was The Remains of the Day, and then I DNF'd The Berry Giant because I literally could not read it, and I got like over 100 pages and I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. So if I enjoy Never Let Me Go, then I will continue reading. I think I have one more book by Kazuo Ishiguro on my shelf, but if I hate Never Let Me Go, that's it for him. That's his third chance. That's it. Oh my god, another book that I am so embarrassed to say I haven't read yet, because I've literally owned it since it came out. Real Life by Brendan Taylor. This book has been out for a few years now. And I still haven't read it. But I have to read it. Not only because it's been on my TBR for so long, but also because Brendan Taylor is coming out with a new novel. So Real Life is about a young man. He is queer, and I think it's like a college life. He is an African American man, I believe, and I think it explores the intersections of queer identity with kind of his race and being in an environment dominated by white people, and maybe exploring just like the embedded nature of kind of white supremacy ideology in a college environment. So I've been desperate to read that book for a while, but I just never pick it up, and I don't know why. I feel like because I always like, oh no, I'll read that later. I want to read this one because it just came out. Then another one. Oh my god, all these books. Too Much Lip by Melissa Lukashenko. Melissa is an Aussie author. I'm pretty sure Melissa is actually a First Nations Aussie author. It's about just a young woman. I am also pretty sure she's queer. She needs to go back home for some sort of event, and she's very reluctant to do so because it just brings up a lot of memories for her. And I think it's about family, it's about being an Indigenous Australian in a very racist Australia. So I think, from also what I understand, might be kind of coming of age, but the narrator is in like her late 20s, so I think it's interesting. It's got really incredible reviews. And then we have Breasts and Eggs by Meiko Kawakami. Has been on my bookshelf for years, and I got this purely because I think it was around the time that I read Convenience Store Woman. It's around the time that I read Kim Ji-young, and I read a few more like translated Japanese works and some translated like Korean works, and I really wanted to read more. And Meiko Kawakami I think Breasts and Eggs either just came out in translation or it started to get some hype on like the online book community. So I kind of like got persuaded, and it sounds really fascinating. It's about women and misogyny and the standards of beauty in Japanese society, and I am still very excited about this book. It's just very thick, and I'm just again a chicken shit, honestly. But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's gonna hit me. It's gonna be quite intense, exploring like ideas of womanhood and how women possibly like try and mold themselves to a certain way to be valued in society. So it'll be very interesting, very excited, and I'm definitely reading that this year. I then want to finally read The Song of Achilles this year. I'm gonna do it by Madeline Miller. I have not read The Song of Achilles. I just haven't. I just haven't. And I'm gonna read that this year because a lot of people love it. Hunter, my dog is literally right there barking. And I love Madeline Miller, but I haven't read one of the most beloved books by her, so I really want to do that. I'm just worried, honestly, about the tears. I feel like I'm gonna sob. I know it. I'm very easy to make cry. And then we have the last book that is a non-classic on this list, and that's Bunny by Mona Awad. I want to read this. I really want to read this. It is not a book that I would have been able to read a few years ago, because reading weird and strange books that make my brain hurt is a relatively new experience for me. But I really want to read Bunny. I want to read Bunny. I want to be one of the girlies who knows what people are talking about when they reference things from Bunny. I want to be a bunny. I tried reading this, would have been last year, but I got it as an ebook and I just wasn't feeling the ebook. I got really sensitive to just reading it. Anyway, but I was enjoying the story. I just couldn't get used to I just couldn't read it as an ebook at the time. I don't know why. I get into these random like phases where I can consume multiple books, just like reading on my iPad, on my phone. Then other times I literally cannot stand it. Don't know why. I really don't. But that's what happened with Bunny. But I really do want to read Bunny. So many of my favorite people love Bunny, so I also need to read it and be part of that conversation. I want to say that Bunny is like a dark academia novel, but I don't think it is. I think it's just a book that takes place at university, and a woman gets caught up in like think of The Secret History, that cult feeling that happens, kind of similar to that. So then we move on to the classics. So the first classic I really want to read this year is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. All I know is that it's a take on Cain and Abel. I am excited. I have not read John Steinbeck since high school when I read Of Mice and Men, and I really enjoyed that. But I haven't read John Steinbeck since. And East of Eden is going to be my reintroduction to him. And I'm really excited because so many people read this book and are surprised by how much they love it. And I was told that after the first chapter, things get wild. So I'm I just really want to be there for the drama of it all, honestly. And the writing, because John Steinbeck writes beautifully. And then we have, oh my god, I am so going to regret having this on my list, The Count of Monte Cristo. Yep, I know, why am I doing this to myself? I also need to write a thesis and submit a thesis this year, but I also want to read The Count of Monte Cristo. What's this about? Obviously about the Count of Monte Cristo. I don't know. All I know is it's about like love, revenge. It's very dramatic and very beautiful in terms of the writing. And with classics, all you need for me to love you as a classic, and even just a book, right, is to have gorgeous writing. That's all I need. I'm really excited. I have seen a lot of people, especially last year, so many people I feel like were reading The Count of Monte Cristo, and their reactions to it, not only were they surprised, but their love for it was just so like euphoric, and I really want to be like that. I want to have that same experience, because I had a very, very similar experience to reading War and Peace. It was incredible. And so I'm hoping that I get invested into the story of the Count of Monte Cristo similarly, because I think that would be super fun. But I think I'm going to read it across like 2 months or something, because it's a very large book, but I'm going to read it. I then want to read Madame Bovary. I got recommended this on my last video. Someone lovely in the comments said that they read Madame Bovary and absolutely loved it. So obviously I kind of pushed it in to this list because it's been staring at me, and a lot of people I see like on Instagram who read this book are surprised again by how wonderful it is, and also how relevant it is to our current situation, which is sad in terms of like existing as woman presenting, I guess. And so I put that on the list because I want to focus, I want to prioritize that. Just going on that, I would also like to read Roxana by Defoe. I've not read a Defoe, but I want to read Roxana because it sounds insane, but in the best way. I think Roxana is kind of a polarizing figure. I think she's very sensual, very openly sensual, very sexy, and I just want the drama of it all. And it's supposed to be a very interesting, hopefully, a very interesting kind of exploration of this character of Roxana, especially like written by a man. So that is also on my list. And then we have, is this the last book? I think that's the last book on the list. We have Yevgeny Onegin by Pushkin. I'm reading this year. This is happening. It is happening. I have not read Pushkin before, but I really do love Russian lit. So I saw Carolyn Marie Reed's experience this novel. I think she did a vlog or a few vlogs about it, and her reaction to it and the way that she was talking about it just seems like something that I would very much appreciate and also love. This is a novel in, like, it's a book in verse. It's poetry, and I love poetry. I was able to read Paradise Lost, was it last year or the year before? I love Paradise Lost by John Milton. It's one of my favorite like epic poems, as well as Prometheus Unbound by Shelley. If you have not read those two, do it. They are so incredible. And so I'm hoping that Pushkin's Onegin will be kind of a similar fun, heart-wrenching experience. And that's it for my list. So this video has gone on for very long. I just spoke for way too long. Anyway, thank you so much for clicking on my face. I really appreciate you. I hope you're well. I hope everything is going well. 2023, new year, new books. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you in another video, most likely at the end of the week. Bye.